It's time to go over the biggest lessons I learned this year flower farming. Alright guys, I have learned a lot this year. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Jessie and I own Living on a Prayer flower farm in Zone 8B, Rusk, Louisiana, and this is my third year flower farming. But today we are thinking about 2022, which was my second year flower farming. And I learned a lot last year. My goal for 2022 is to go bigger and better than ever. And I might have bit off way more than I could chew. Bigger and better may not always be better. This morning I sat down and went back through my notes in my Erin Condren planner. So most of you know I love, and this is totally not sponsored, but I do have a referral link down in the description below if you'd like to buy one. I use an Erin Condren planner to keep my notes for my flower farm. This is last year's planner. But I was sitting there thinking, okay, going back through what are all the lessons I've learned this year. And I think there's some good ones and I think you'll benefit. In my next video, we will talk about goals for 2023 and how I hope to achieve those goals. Life. You know, year one was lessons like get a timer for watering your plants because you forget to turn off the water. And you know, ironically, I did buy a timer. Still haven't installed it yet. That's right, I still haven't put the timer on. I really need to. I really should. I just never got around to it. 2022, what I learned was some really valuable things that I really wish I knew better. Actually, you know, that's a lie. Some of these things I have heard and knew and just completely ignored because why learn from other people's experience when you can learn the hard way? I guess I'm just stubborn like that. So here are the lessons I have learned the hard way, and I hope that you, unlike me, are less stubborn and will take the easy way and learn from others. So let's get into it. Lesson 1. Just because the flowers say that they love sun, full sun, doesn't necessarily mean that they love full sun in your zone. Yes, for those of you who watch this channel, you know what I'm talking about. Dahlias. Dahlias, dahlias, and oh yeah, dahlias. Huge lesson this year. So dahlias, if you read or research, love full sun. I planted them in full sun. But dahlias are also not heat tolerant. And by that I mean they hate southern weather. They really hated our hot, humid summer. So I ended up having to put a shade cloth over my dahlias to try and save them. And the only dahlia that really, actually I had two dahlias that really bloomed and looked beautiful, and that was Michaela Miranda and Arabian Night. I mean, those just went for it. And that was a huge lesson. Had I researched better, I would have realized that dahlias need morning sun, full morning sun, and some afternoon shade because it just gets too hot here for them to really thrive, and they actually lose their center petals to try and survive the heat. Never realized that, but now we know. Now we know. I still need to move those dahlias, actually. Lesson 2 is all about the dreaded deer and other animals. 2022 is full of animals. We had lots of deer, we had rabbits, and we had an armadillo. The deer were notorious. I learned that animals are very determined when they are hungry, especially the deer. There's little you can do to prevent them from coming in short of putting up like a 20-foot fence. They are going to find a way in if you let them, and all it takes is once. The one time you let your guard down, they're gonna swoop in and eat all your flowers. All of them. Let's take a moment to mourn the plants I lost to the deer. Let's see, I lost the glads, I lost the tulips, I lost some ranunculus and anemones at one point. Oh, I lost so many plants to deer. And I'm still fighting the deer. And I know some of you are like, what about sprinkler systems or this and that? I don't have money to invest in a sprinkler system. And everything else they tend to get used to over time, so it only works. I've tried soap. Remember I tried the deer repellent, which ended up just being Irish Spring soap bar stuffed in a bag that I paid for. So that was a harsh lesson this year. It was just because you put up a fence and you try your hardest to keep them out, they are going to try their best to get in, and all it takes is you forgetting to turn on the electric fence or forgetting to put the fence back up and closing it for them to get in and wipe out your entire crop. As a flower farmer, you must be vigilant against the deer. Lesson 3, let's talk about buying plugs and starting seeds before you're actually ready to plant them. This kind of happened, I guess, for 2022. I bought plugs. I bought Canterbury bells, and Sea Holly has plugs from Farmer Bailey in 2021 for 2022 season. And when they got here, I wasn't ready to plant them. I still had so much preparation to do on this farm during the 2022 early season, and they died in their tray. Like $200 just wasted right there for my lack of preparation. And then in 2022, I was going to start honeywort. I actually did start honeywort. It was beautiful seedlings. Oh, they were gorgeous, and I was going to plant them. And I never got around to it because I was busy with everything else, and they died in their tray. So a good lesson is, unless you know for sure you're going to have time or you're going to make time to plant these seeds and plants, don't start them. Don't buy the plug trays. Just don't do it. But I did. So many seedlings have died in their tray. I would hate to show you my plant room right now. Oh my gosh. I have snapdragons and stock in the seed room that are like, give me water. And I'm watering them like once a week. They really need to go outside, but I just don't have time right now. Want to take a moment to say thank you to those of you who did super thanks on my videos. Guys, I really appreciate it. That you can donate to the farm if you'd like to. You can now go to buymeacoffee.com. Buymeacoffee.com only takes 5%. So 95% of what you donate to me through buymeacoffee.com goes to the farm, and it really helps out. Thank you again for all of those who also buy things off the Amazon wish list to send to me. Y'all are just amazing, and I really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video. Number 4. Just because the flower is expensive does not mean it's going to be a best seller. Can you guess what I'm talking about? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, dahlias. Once again, dahlias. I guess I'm ragging on dahlias today, but I spent a lot of money on dahlias last year. I was only going to order like maybe 30 dahlias, and then, you know, I did a video, which I'll link down in the description below. I ended up ordering like two or 300 of them. 10 dahlias max. That's all I'm gonna order. The dahlias started rolling in earlier last week, and they kept rolling in, and now these are all the dahlias. Might have ordered over 250 dahlias. Not the smartest idea, but hey, I'm working on it. I'm working on restraining and not buying everything, okay? Dahlias don't last as long as a lot of my other flowers do. They just don't. And some people really love the dahlias, but a lot of people wanted the zinnias instead. They wanted lilies. They wanted sunflowers. My customers love sunflowers. So let's see. Sunflower, which is relatively cheap to grow, or a dahlia. They all outperformed my dahlias, which were expensive, and of course me having a hard time keeping them alive because I put them in the full sun to just fry, made it not worth it. So just because the flower itself can be really expensive, I mean, I was like, oh, you know, I spent this money on the tuber, it's gonna make more tubers, and I can sell these flowers for like $3 to $5 a piece. I'm gonna make so much money. I did not make very much money off my dahlias. And that was my fault. So, lesson learned there. Just because the flower is more expensive doesn't mean it's going to sell well. And why sell it if your customers don't want it? Number 5 is don't bring everything you have to the market. So last year was a refrigerator issue. I didn't have enough storage for all my beautiful tulips and lilies. I just didn't have enough place to keep them. Instead of just bringing what I knew would sell, I would bring everything with me I had that week to the market thinking I could sell it. So I would bring, a little over $1,000 of flowers to the farmer's market to sell. And, that was one of my goals, was I wanted to break that $1,000 mark. I guess you could say, yeah, I was definitely influenced by Ian and Serena with You Can't Eat the Grass with, I've got to make that $1,000 at farmer's market. But I've realized my market isn't going to make $1,000. It's just not. But I was bringing everything I had to my farmer's market, and then I was ending up having to donate $500 to $600 to the nursing home, which is great. I know the residents enjoyed it, but man, did it hurt. So whereas if I would have left some tulips and lilies in the refrigerator, they could last, a few weeks in there. I could sell those the next market, just being sure to rotate my stock. And that's what I'm going to do this year, is rotate that stock instead of trying to bring it all and then having to donate all the unsold flowers. If you don't have the storage, don't grow the flower. Tulips. I had so many tulips blooming at once. And what's funny is I lost over half my crop of tulips to deer and tulip fire. Half. And I still didn't have enough refrigerator room. Oh, I did not have enough refrigerator room for all the tulips. I was using our two spare refrigerators in here. So we have a drink fridge and we have what I call the flower fridge now. That's where I keep my bulbs and flowers. And I was using the camper refrigerator. And I mean, I was shoving flowers wherever I could. Don't grow all the bulbs of the flowers if you don't have enough cold storage, because those tulips will bloom so fast. And there's no point in selling the tulip if it's already bloomed out. To make it really last for your customer, you need it to be in that nice closed bud stage. And that's how I like to sell them, is you can't really tell what they're really going to look like just yet. You can see the color, and by the time I get to the farmer's market, they're opening a little bit more. But by doing that, my customers get a week to 2 weeks out of their flowers. Number 7 is about learning your flower farm or garden's ecosystem. So my first year flower farming, I tried to keep up with spraying neem oil and copper whatever to keep powdery mildew down, to attack the leaf hoppers, and it was just a mess. I was having to spray weekly, and I just didn't have time to do that. I would be out there till like 9 at night in the dark, and it wasn't sustainable. So last year I ordered ladybugs and ring lace-winged insects to try and battle the bad bugs, and I learned that that is where it's at. Setting up that ecosystem really helped the farm and free up my time. I didn't have to spray pesticides, nor did I want to, because then I was going to hurt my good bugs. And I still had some aphids, I still had some leaf hoppers, but the amount was so much more less than what I had the year before. I mean, it really made a huge difference in that. So I will be ordering more ladybugs and good bugs to throw out there to help, have that good balance. Yes, I'm still gonna have some bad bugs. Yes, I may have had a house full of ladybugs when I brought them in on the flowers by accident, and that was a hot mess. So fun fact, I'm getting ready for market and there are ladybugs everywhere. I bought some to put out in the flower farm, and I tried my best to shake them off before bringing the flowers inside. And now that we're taking the flowers out of the fridge to make arrangements, ladybugs are everywhere, and me and my husband are trying desperately to grab all the ladybugs and get them outside. It's been fun! Fun night! Here we go. Got it. Let's take you outside, sir. But you know what? It was so much better for the earth and for my system and my time. So I'll be doing that again. That was a great lesson to learn last year, to see that the ecosystem could sustain itself. It doesn't need me spraying pesticides. It just needs some good bugs to get out there and take care of them bad bugs. Number 8, burnout is real. Oh my gosh. Last year, I'm going bigger and better than ever, and I was so burnt out trying to do YouTube, my job, my family, put in seedlings, grow seedlings, harvest, farmers market, start transplant, get ready for fall. All of that at once was not a good combination. And I thought it's okay if I hit burnout, I'll be down for like maybe 2 weeks and then I'll be back and running. And what I learned was that burnout doesn't always last just a week or two. Sometimes it can last months. Oh, and it did. Basically from August through January, I had no motivation for this farm. I had no motivation for really anything besides to sit in my chair and pet my pug and watch TV and just completely numb out. I definitely pushed myself way too far during the summer last year. It was way too much. I'm having to learn how to balance everything way better than what I was, because that was not fun. And I didn't like the fact that I felt like I was letting y'all down as well. I was letting you down because I wasn't producing any more videos and I wasn't out there having fun in the farm. I was really struggling to have that love come back. And I just kept telling myself, it's okay. Once I start seeds, I'll want to start it again, and I'll want to be on the farm again. It's okay. Once you start bulbs, you'll want the farm again. And it just didn't happen. You know what did happen? When my tulips started coming up is when I was like, it's time for the farm, and finally got the motivation back. So burnout can last a while. Be careful. It's not worth it to push yourself so hard to where you go into burnout. Avoid it at all costs. Number 9, bigger is not always better. So y'all have heard me say it several times now. I tried to go bigger and better in 2022 on the farm, and I definitely bit off way more than I could chew. I couldn't keep up with the farm and with what I wanted. Oh my goodness, I was determined to grow as many sunflowers as I could, as many zinnias as I could, as many of everything that I could. I ordered, I think 300 lilies, 300 to 500 lilies, thinking I'd be able to sell them all. I ordered 600 glads, 600 or 700 glads, and only planted 100 of them. I still have 500 sitting in the den needing to be planted. I asked my mom this weekend, I was like, do you think if I planted them now that they would survive and bloom? She's like, yeah, definitely. No idea if that's true. Going to try it. But that was just wasted money. So bigger is definitely not always better. If you want to go bigger, that's fine. But instead of doing like I did, which was just trying to completely triple the farm, maybe just, do just a little bit more. You did 500 this year, maybe do 600 next year, and so on, to see what you can actually handle, especially if you're not doing this as a full-timer. Number 10 is operating at the speed of cash. Going into debt for the farm was not a smart decision. So if you watch 2023 Flower Farm Finances, which I'll put the video down below and probably as an end screen as well, you'll see that I spent a lot. Not as much as I did my first year, but I did spend a lot on this farm, and I did go into debt for this farm. And all that's really done is just tie me down further. This year I am moving at the speed of cash. If I don't have the money for it, I'm not buying it, which means I had to do some hard things. I started this actually at the end of 2022 of moving at the speed of cash, which meant I canceled a giant tulip order. I was ordering from Ball Seed Company. It was going to be $2,000 for like 6,000 tulips, and I canceled it because I'd already ordered 1,100 from Jake. I didn't need another 6,000 tulips. I took my anemone order down to the bare minimum that I could with Ball Seed Company, and oh, it hurt. It hurt to cancel those orders, but I'm happy I did, because you know what? While I was in that bigger and better season, I was ordering even more items. I just couldn't stop myself, and having to cancel those, I think I ordered a more realistic amount that I could manage and that I could afford. So I'm very happy with that. Lesson 9B was, don't try to grow all the seeds. Try to grow what will sell, that you know will sell, or just, you know, your top 5, which actually I have a video on my top 5 beginner cut flowers, and I'll link that down in the description below. Be sure to check that out. Bonus here, I guess you could say it's 11 lessons I learned. Perennials are your friend. I am definitely going to start investing in more perennials for this farm. Yarrow, my yarrow is coming back beautifully, and I didn't have to plant it. I can plant more this year, and I did plant a few more, but instead of having to plant another 100 yarrow this year, just letting it come back, and it's going to be bigger and stronger than ever and produce more flowers as well. Rebecca is a perennial in my zone. It died in the Arctic blast, but if I can get it to come back, that will be amazing. Status, as long as we don't get below 0, will do great and is a perennial in my zone. There's so many different flowers that I can plant once and not have to worry about replanting every year, and that would be nice. Also, evergreen shrubs. I would like to start investing in evergreen shrubs that I can use for greenery when nothing else is blooming and I need greenery to go with my tulips and my early spring flowers. Well, those are the biggest lessons I learned this year. Thank you guys for hanging around. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I'll get you, my pretty. And your little dog too. Too much. Luca's still going.